Good morning. I'm Dr. Saraswati, Assistant Professor, Department of OBG. Today I'm here to present on multiple pregnancy. So the study of twins is called as gametology. So it's a high risk pregnancy. It has increased risk of perinatal morbidity and mortality. So when there is a development of two or more fetuses simultaneously in a pregnant uterus is called as multiple pregnancy. So if there is a development of two fetuses, you call it as twins, which is the most common variety. If it is three fetus, you call it as triplets. If it's four fetuses, quadruplets. Five fetuses, quintuplets, and six fetuses, sextuplets, accordingly. So we have two types of twins. One is dizygotic and monozygotic twins. Dizygotic can be binovular or fraternal twins, which occurs by fertilization of two ova by two distinct Graafian follicles, usually of the same ovary or from each ovary. It happens by two sperms. So there is fraternal remembrance to each other, which is the most common variety. Nearly two-thirds of the twins belong to this dizygotic variety. They have two placenta, so we call it as dichorionic and diamniotic. The second type is the monozygotic twins, which is uniovular or identical twins. So there is fertilization of single ovum by a single sperm. So nearly one-third of the twins belong to this category. Many types are there depending on the time of splitting occurs. So when the cleavage occurs at the egg cell stage, within 3 days of fertilization, that is within 72 hours, there'll be formation of dichorionic diamniotic, which means there is two chorions and two amnions. So when the cleavage occurs at the inner cell mass, that is between 4 to 7 days, it is monochorionic diamniotic, which is the most common variety, which means it has single chorion and two amnions. If the cleavage occurs after fertilization, which means from 8 to 12 days, there will be formation of monochorionic monoamniotic twins, which means it has single chorion and two amnions. So when the cleavage occurs after the appearance of the primitive streak, that is after 13 days, there will be formation of conjoined twins, which means there is single chorion and single amnion. So this is a picture showing dizygotic and monozygotic twins. Dizygotic, when there is fertilization of two separate ova. Monozygotic, it is splitting of the single fertilized egg. So in dizygotic, you get dichorionic and diamniotic, maybe a fused DCDA placenta. If you come to monozygotic, there are four types. Within 3 days, you get this DCDA, and 4 to 7 days you get MCDA, 18 to 12 days you get MCMA. After 13 days it is conjoined twins. This fused DCDA and monozygotic twins, which occurs within 3 days of this cleavage, may mimic each other. So how do you determine zygosity? This is the most frequently used method to determine zygosity. You have to examine placenta at birth. So dichorionic diamniotic twins, there will be chorionic tissue between two amnions. Monochorionic diamniotic twins, there are no chorionic tissue. So monochorionic placenta is a unequivocal proof of monozygosity. It's difficult to decide in single placenta. This monochorionic diamniotic or fused dichorionic diamniotic, which may be found in both dizygotic as well as monozygotic, which we have discussed in that picture. The other methods we can do by the study of blood groups, genetic fingerprinting. The best period is the determination of zygosity is 9 to 12 weeks of gestation. So what is the difference between monozygotic and dizygotic twins? So ovum will be single and dizygotic it is two. Sperm will be single and dizygotic two sperms. Same sex, here it is opposite sex. In monozygotic, you will have identical twins. Dizygotic, only fraternal resemblance only. Placenta will be, the communicating vessel will be present. Intervening membrane will be absent in monochorionic and monoamniotic twin. The thickness of the intervening membrane will be less than 2 mm. Twin peak sign will be absent in monozygotic twin pregnancy. Whereas in dizygotic, the communicating vessel will be present. The communicating vessel will be absent. Intervening membrane will be present. The thickness will be more than 2 mm. Twin peak sign will be usually present. The gene of the fetus will be same in monozygotic twins, different in dizygotic twins. DNA microprobe technique is the most definite technique which shows the same features in monozygotic. Dizygotic, it is different. Skin grafting is accepted in monozygotic. Dizygotic, it is rejected. So what is superfetation? Superfetation is fertilization of two ova released in two menstrual cycles. Superfecundation is it's a fertilization of two ova within same menstrual cycle but not at the same coitus. So the incidence based on the Helen's law, the frequency of monozygotic twins is relatively constant throughout the world at approximately 1 in 250 births and is largely dependent of race, heredity, age, and parity. Zygotic splitting is increased in assisted reproductive technology. So if it is twins 1 in 80, triplets 1 in 80 square, quadruplets 1 in 80 cube, quintuplets 1 in 80 power 4, conjoint twins 1 in 60,000. So etiology, Africans are more prone. Hereditary factors, maternal side if there is history of twins in mother or sister, high parity, rising maternal age, nutrition, taller, heavier and folic acid supplementation, who receives it, iatrogenic with the help of assisted reproductive techniques by ovulation induction or IVF, ovulation induction with clomiphene citrate or gonadotrophins. Dizygotic twins are more common than monozygotic. And if a patient uses contraception and if she discontinues his OCP after 6 months, it increases by 2 times due to the sudden release of gonadotrophins. So the prognosis, maternal mortality is 3 to 7 times increased risk. Postpartum hemorrhage is also more common due to the larger size of the uterus. The maternal morbidity increased due to complications and increased incidence of operative interference. Perinatal mortality, it is 3 to 11 times markedly increased, where the babies are more prone to get prematurity, IUGR, and infection. Second twin has a higher risk than first twin. Mortality is more with monozygotic twins. It is 2.5 times higher than dizygotic twins. So how do you diagnose multiple pregnancy? Family or past history of multiple pregnancy, especially on the maternal side. History of treatment of infertility with ovulation-inducing drugs. Due to excess HCG hormones, the minor pregnancy ailments are seen more commonly, like there is increased nausea, vomiting, hyperemesis, palpitation, dyspnea, fetal edema, varicosity of the legs, varicosity of the vulval veins, hemorrhoids, excessive abdominal distension, excessive fetal movements. So, going for general examination, you have to look for the pulse, BP, look for pallor, pedal edema, heart and chest auscultation. Abdominal examination and inspection, you see excessive distension of the abdomen. Palpation, symphysis of fundal height is more than the gestational period. Abdominal girth is more than 100 centimeter. Uterus will be full of too many fetal parts. Palpation of 2 fetal heads or 3 fetal poles is diagnostic. Auscultation, presence of 2 distinct heart sounds at 2 different areas, at least 10 centimeter apart with a silent area in between by 2 observers. Difference of at least 10 beats per minute. Vaginal examination depends on the presentation of the 2 fetuses. So coming to the investigations, the prime modality will be, the prime diagnostic modality will be ultrasonography as early as 8th week of gestation, vanishing twins with fetal pole in one sac and no pole in the other sac. 2 gestation sac in twins, 2 heads in ultrasound, and fetal viability. We can look for the chorionicity of the placenta, gestational age, fetal anomalies, fetal growth monitoring, presentation and life of the fetus, twin-to-twin transmission syndrome, amniotic fluid index of the 2 sacs, localization of the placenta, fetal well-being can be looked for in ultrasonography. So the best time to identify the type of twin pregnancy and chorionicity is 11 to 14 weeks. The chorion and amnion are not fused. CRL 45 and 84 mm. Fetuses of opposite gender always dizygotic. Presence of two separate placentas and thick dividing membrane more than 2 mm determines dichorionicity. So how will you define, how will you determine chorionicity? In dichorionic and monochorionic. So if you see dichorionic, there will be two gestational sac in first trimester. Dividing membrane will be thick more than 2 mm. Placenta will be 2. Discordant gender. Twin peak sign will be present. T sign will be absent. Dividing membrane will be 3 or 4 layers. Whereas in monochorionic, one gestational sac. Dividing membrane is thin, less than 2 mm. Placenta is 1. Gender is concordant or discordant. Twin peak sign will be absent. T sign will be present. Dividing membrane will have 2 layers. So if you come to uncomplicated monochorionic twin pregnancies, you have to do a first trimester USG and 2 weekly ultrasound after 16 weeks of gestation to detect twin to twin transfusion syndrome and twin arterial perfusion syndrome. So I have to do a dating and labeling of the fetus, chorionicity, screening for trisomy 21 between 11 to 14 weeks of gestation. Fetal growth, umbilical artery PI. So all those should be looked in between 16 to 18 weeks of gestation. And look for the anomaly, detailed anomaly, biometry, umbilical artery PI, and this MCA Doppler, cervical length should be seen in 20 weeks of gestation. And from 20 weeks, you have to look for the fetal growth and Doppler. So in uncomplicated dichorionic, first trimester USG is mandatory and second trimester anomaly scan, and you have to do ultrasound every 4 weeks thereafter. So same like that, 11 to 14 weeks you have to do dating, labeling, chorionicity and screening. At 20 weeks, anomaly scan along with cervical length, amniotic fluid index. After 24 weeks of gestation, look for the fetal growth, volume and Doppler. So dichorionic placenta, twin peak sign or lambda sign. So it has a single placental mass, triangular projection beyond chorionic surface between the dividing membrane. It's a thick dividing membrane. Monochorionic placenta, T sign, no apparent extension of the chorionic tissue between the dividing membrane. There will be thin dividing membrane. So this is it. Dichorionic placenta and chorion. It has 4 layers. Whereas monochorionic placenta has only 2 layers, which is T sign. In dichorionic, you get twin peak sign. So this is the diagram showing twin peak sign. So which has the dividing membrane, which is more than 2 mm. It's a twin peak sign, having 4 layers. So growth scan in DCDA twins has to be done every 4 weeks. MCDA twins every 2 weeks. I have to screen for twin arterial perfusion and twin to twin transmission syndrome. AFI and umbilical artery PI should be seen at 16 weeks. And this middle cerebral artery Doppler at 20 weeks. So this is the diagram showing the 2 sacs. So this first picture, you can see 2 sacs with fetal pool in one sac and other is empty, which means it indicates a vanishing twin. Whereas the second picture, that is B, it's a picture showing 2 sacs and you can see fetal poles, 2 fetal poles in each sac. Coming to this X-ray picture, this is the picture, this X-ray showing multiple fetal parts. You can see 2 heads. One in the hypogastric region and the other in the lumbar region. Sorry, left hypochondrium. So this is it. This is the ultrasound picture showing 2 heads. Differential diagnosis: mistaken dates, hydramnios, fetal macrosomia, fibroid with pregnancy, ovarian tumor with pregnancy, ascites with pregnancy, full bladder, identiform mole, closely attached to adnexal mass. Effects on the mother. There can be miscarriage, increased symptoms of early pregnancy, increased minor ailments of pregnancy, anemia, hyperemesis gravidarum, hypertension and preeclampsia, antepartum hemorrhage like placenta previa due to the larger placenta, placental abruption due to preeclampsia, hydramnios, gestational diabetes, cholestatic jaundice, malpresentations, preterm labor, mechanical distress like varicose veins, edema, and hemorrhoids, and obstructive uropathy can occur. During labor, there may be early rupture of membranes, ineffective labor, cord prolapse, increased risk of operative delivery, abruptio placenta, postpartum hemorrhage. Whereas during puerperium, there may be subinvolution of uterus, infection, failing lactation. So we'll see about the vanishing twin of fetal compresses or fetus papyraceous. So one of the fetuses aborts or gets reabsorbed within 10 weeks of pregnancy. The incidence is 20 to 60%. USG viable pregnancy plus non-viable one. When fetal death occurs during the second trimester, the remains of the baby gets compressed and paper-like and flattened by pressure from the survivor. The vanishing twin cause problems in screening for NTD discrepancy in karyotyping. So in monochorionic twins, there is higher chance of abortion. The abortion rate is increased in twins. So prematurity, most important complication and main reason for higher perinatal morbidity and mortality. Due to uterine distension, hydramnios and intrauterine infections, there is twin-to-twin transmission syndrome and discordant fetal growth. So this requires preterm delivery as soon as the lung maturity is achieved. There may be cerebral palsy, microcephaly, porencephaly, multicystic encephalomalacia. The mean gestational age at delivery of twins will be 37 weeks. For twins, 33.5 weeks for triplets, 30 weeks for quadruplets, 29 weeks for quintuplets. So growth restriction, it is more marked in the monozygotic twins. After 30 weeks of pregnancy, 90% of the twins will be low birth weight due to IUGR, 25% will be prematurity. So discordant twins, there is unequal division of the zygote, unequal placental mass, umbilical cord abnormalities, genetic diseases, twin-to-twin transmission or placental insufficiency. Difference in birth weight is more than 25%. The smaller twin has higher risk of perinatal complications, long-term physical and intellectual growth restriction, and risk of death. So pathology, monochorionic twins, discordancy will be there. So the placental vascular anastomosis, the hemodynamic imbalances between the twins and structural anomalies. So dizygotic twins, different genetic potential. One of the placenta will be there will be suboptimal implantation site in utero, crowding and placental abnormalities. Criteria for diagnosis. Difference in the head circumference more than 5%, difference in abdominal circumference more than 20 mm, increased head to abdomen and femur to abdomen ratios, difference of more than 25% estimated fetal weight, abnormal umbilical artery Doppler waveforms. So single fetal death or acute inter-twin transfusion. So this is early or later in pregnancy, it is uncommon. And the morbidity depends on the chorionicity. One monochorionic twin dies in utero, 25% risk of necrotic neurological lesions, including cerebral palsy and renal lesions in the survivor. Risk of intrauterine death of healthy co-twin, 25%, due to severe hypotension of the other twin. So treatment, like chorionic twins, expectant management, regular assessment of the pregnant woman's coagulation status. Monochorionic twins management depends on the gestational time since fetal death. Death within 24 to 36 hours in early gestation. Fetal blood sampling with rescue transfusion. Later gestations, delivery should be done. If co-twin death occurs previously, imaging like ultrasound or MRI to detect cystic changes. Cystic changes, if present, need to terminate pregnancy. So in twin-to-twin transmission syndrome, 15% will be of monochorionic, Relative lack of superficial bilateral vascular anastomosis, which protect against hemodynamic imbalances caused by unidirectional deep arteriovenous vessels. Antenatal criteria, same-sex fetuses, monochorionicity with placental vascular anastomosis, weight difference between twins will be more than 20%, hydramnios in the larger twin and oligohydramnios in the smaller twin. So, smaller twin will be stuck. Hemoglobin difference will be more than 5 grams per deciliter. So, Quintro staging system. Stage 1 is polyhydramnios, oligohydramnios. Deepest LICA packet is more than 2 centimeter polyhydramnios. Deepest LICA packet less than 2 centimeter will be oligohydramnios. So, there is discordant A5, but urine still visible in the USG within donor twins bladder. Stage 2. Stage 1 plus urine not visible within donor's bladder. Stage 3. Stage 2 plus abnormal Doppler studies of umbilical artery, ductus venosus or umbilical vein. Stage 4. Ascites of frank hydrops in either twin. Stage 5. Most severe form with demise of the either twin. Treatment is amnioreduction. AFA in the recipient twin more than 40 centimeter. MVP more than 12 centimeter. Target AFA should be 15 centimeter. Septostomy can be done. Selective feticide. The donor twin will have severe FGR. We can do cord ligation. Recipient twin ultrasound guided fluorescent injection, laser coagulation, bipolar diathermy. Laser treatment at 18 to 24 weeks, ablation of the communicating anastomosis. So if untreated, perinatal mortality is extremely high, more than 80%. Twin to twin transfusion, gradual process, sometimes sudden death of one twin, recipient due to heart failure. Recipient twin, higher risk of death than donor. Treatment is amnioreduction, septostomy, selective feticide. So if the donor twin is severe, UGR can do cord ligation. Recipient twin, UST guided fluorescent injection, coagulation and diathermy. So twin anemia polycythemia sequence. Unbalanced intertwin transfusion across a small peripheral arteriovenous anastomosis. The diagnostic criteria is antenatal MCA peak systolic volume more than 1.5 MOM in donor, MCA PSV less than 1 MOM in recipient. Postnatal intertwin HB difference is more than 8 grams and at least one of the following. Reticulocyte count is more than 1.7. Placenta with only small vascular anastomosis. Treatment is intrauterine blood transfusion for anemic twin. Partial exchange transfusion for polycythemic twin. So, twin reversed arterial perfusion, acardiac twinning. One person monochorionic pregnancy. Acardiac twin receives blood supply via large arterial anastomosis from a normal pump port twin. Absent or rudimentary development of head and neck. Perinatal mortality high in pump twin. So there is cardiac failure, hydrops, preterm delivery. Treatment is disruption of the acardiac twins cord, diathermy or laser treatment of the central vessels. So monoamniotic twin pregnancy. Monoamniotic twin pregnancy. It is rare, 1 in 12,500 births, umbilical cord entanglement, cord accidents, congenital malformations, preterm delivery, and twin to twin transfusion. So there is a high perinatal mortality. In ultrasound, you can see absence of dividing membrane, twins of same sex, single placenta. The color Doppler will show cord entanglement, variable deceleration in cord entanglement. The route of delivery will be cesarean section after 34 weeks. 2 doses of betamethasone to avoid umbilical cord problems. So congenital malformation is increased in twins. Major malformations 2%, minor will be 4%. Higher in monozygotic twins due to defects from twinning, defects from vascular interchange, defect as a result of crowding. Conjoined twins, also called as Siamese 1 in 200. Uniovular, same sex and karyotype. Thoracophagus is most common. Omphalophagus is the attachment near the anterior abdominal wall. Pyophagus is near the buttocks. Ischiophagus is ischium. Craniophagus is head. Poor outcome. Treatment is only by surgical separation. Ultrasound, if you see, you can see twins facing each other. 3D ultrasound early detection can be done. X-ray radiopic dye in amniotic fluid should be injected and seen. Delivery should be by cesarean section. So this is a picture showing conjoined twins. This is thoracoephagus and this is near the anteroabdominal. So umbilical cord anomalies, like there may be single umbilical artery, velamentous insertion of the cord entanglement, cord prolapse, torsion can be there. So malpresentations. So 40% most common is vertex, first twin vertex. Then 28% vertex breach, 7.5% vertex transverse, 9% breach vertex, 6.5% breach, 2.5% breach and transverse, both transverse 0.5%. Other combinations 6%. So how do you prevent multiple pregnancy? There should be strict legislation to allow only one or two embryo transfer. Avoid use of ovulation induction. So management in the antenatal period. You have to give nutrition of additional 300 kilocalories per day, proteins, minerals, vitamins, and essential fatty acids. Extra rest to prevent preterm labor. Iron and other supplements, 200 mg elemental iron and 5 mg folic acid, additional calcium and vitamins. Antenatal visits every 2 weekly. Minimum visits for DCD is 8, MCD is 11 visits. Fetal monitoring 4 weekly VST for AFI and fetal growth. So admission to the hospital. Routine hospitalization is not recommended. Bed rest after 30 weeks to prevent preterm labor. Evidence-based medicine doesn't recommend the cervical encephalopathy as symptomatic. Progesterone therapy vaginal route is preferred to prevent preterm labor before 30 weeks. Pessary, silicone arabian pessary has no evidence. ACOG recommendations, steroids can be given. So management. DCDA twins should be terminated at 37 weeks. MCDA twins 36 weeks. MCMA 32 to 33 plus 6 weeks. 2010 transmission syndrome 32 to 33 plus 6 weeks. Triplets terminated 35 weeks of gestation. So how a twin pregnancy is managed during labor. So if the first twin is vertex, we have three scenarios. First twin vertex, second scenario is also first twin vertex. Third scenario is first twin non-vertex. So if the first twin is non-vertex, we will go for elective cesarean delivery. If the first twin is vertex, if there are any complicating factors, any obstetric indication for cesarean delivery, if there is any monoamniotic twins or twin-to-twin transmission syndrome, conjoined twins at term, you have to do a elective cesarean delivery. So coming to a case which is non-complicated, that is first twin vertex, the criteria for vaginal delivery should be fulfilled. There should be 2 trained obstetricians, 2 pediatricians, and 1 anesthetist should be available. A portable ultrasound machine should be available. Blood should be arranged. Pain relief, epidural analgesia is preferred. Fetal monitoring should be done. Intravenous drip should be started. Satisfactory progress, fetal heart remains normal. So you have to deliver the baby vaginally. Clamp and cut the cord. You have to withhold this AMTS, that is active management of the third stage of labor. So you have to confirm the lie of the second twin by abdominal examination, vaginal examination, or by ultrasound. So if it's longitudinal lie, perform amniotomy of the second twin. Start oxytocin if required. Note the presentation. If it is still, if it is vertex, allow for vaginal delivery. If there is a delay in this vertex presentation delivery, look if the head is deeply engaged or if the head is high up. If it is deeply engaged, use forceps. If the head is high up, you can use a vacuum or go for cesarean delivery if there is fetal distress. If it is breech presentation, go for assisted breech delivery or breech extraction. Coming to the lie, if it is transverse lie, do a ECV. If it is successful, perform vaginal delivery. If it is unsuccessful, go for internal podalic version under GA. If it is successful, breech extraction. If it is unsuccessful, cesarean delivery. So what are the indications of elective cesarean delivery in infants? First baby is non-cephalic, especially shoulder presentation, conjoined twins, congenital abnormality, fetal growth restrictions in dichorionic twins, Chronic twin-to-twin transmission syndrome and monochorionic twins, monoamniotic twins, placenta previa, contracted pelvis, previous cesarean section, severe preeclampsia. What are the indications of emergency cesarean delivery? Fetal distress, heart prolapse in first baby, non-progressive labor, collision of both twins. Indications of cesarean section for second twin. Second twin is transverse. And for a large second twin weighing more than 3.5 kg, prompt closure of cervix after delivery. Thank you.